New content in Where Winds Meet. The level cap is finally going to 75. In this video, I want to highlight what that means, give you a warning on the season is ending, and there can be some things you want to be doing so you don't miss out before it's gone. With this breakthrough, you should also be able to get up to 20,000 martial mastery. We do have some minor additional content drops throughout January, and finally I want to give my opinion on the state of the game, something I feel the majority of players are also experiencing. So let's begin on what exactly you should be doing and how to get your new gear. We have indeed now unlocked tier 71 stuff, and you can be getting, again, legendary gear, replacing all your tier 61 stuff. So I will be slowly doing that. I already have 5 pieces on tier 71 with just my weapons and bracers still needing to be replaced. There are multiple places where you're going to get this gear, and it's the usual campaigns, kill your bosses depending on which drop the gear sets you want. Outposts can be worth doing if you still need to do your final upgrades on mystic skills, getting this Ebon Iron, even instead of getting the perfect set of legendary gear, mainly because within 18 days we will be getting a new breakthrough again, and that will bring the level cap to 80. But it does not look like this will bring any higher tier gear, as we'll be just getting 71 tier gear. However, we should be getting a new season, and that will extend the level cap again even further. The Chinese server currently has a level 100, and if you check the time frame here, our current season is ending on February the 6th, which means we're very likely to get the start of a new season at that time. So quickly jumping back to your gear and what you should be doing with it, well, yes, simply try and get tier 71 legendary gear and replace your tier 61 gear. The tuning is as normal on legendary gear as it was with tier 61. Don't be afraid to use your tier 71 tuning materials on this gear, and hopefully you get some good stats. However, we can also go to our enhance here and we can get some further upgrades. If you currently only are using tier 61 weapons, then you can't. You can temporarily switch them out for higher tier ones and then get it upgraded. Make sure you're preserving that old gear you used and throwing it into the arsenal for some extra martial mastery and base damage boosts here. And Divinecraft can be upgraded a little bit. Continue developing your inner ways, using the tips recycle to throw away the stuff you don't need, and purchase these chests selecting the path that you play. And ultimately, if you get these things all maxed out at this current level 75 and breakthrough 10, you should get above 20,000 martial mastery. I miss quite a few things, and ultimately I'm a bit stuck just on energy. There's not a lot you can do outside of energy in terms of raw character progress other than a few minor things that still end up being time gated, like farming mobs for a few extra gear drops. What I found the drop rates to be on the campaign bosses for the level 71 gear was this, with a sample size of 84 gear items and spending 780 energy. Of course, the more results, the more accurate these drop results would be. Now with this season ending, there are a few things you may not want to miss out on. One of them being a pretty unique badge. You go to all path challenges here, and if you beat them all, you can get this. Just beware the title is going to expire on February. And then there'll be new challenges and new rewards to obtain. I still have to put the time in to finish the tank one here. This one's quite annoying. And then the bamboo cut one. You need to get that done before February. Otherwise, these are getting all replaced by new ones and you'll miss out on these rewards. There are path trial challenges that you can do, and that is ending in 3 days, but the rewards aren't anything crazy, and the trials in general shouldn't be going anywhere in terms of these first clear rewards. However, this path trial is along with this badge, although it says it expires again when the season ends in February. The season shop, if you want any of these cosmetics, you most likely have to get them now before the season ends, and just make sure yes, you're getting your weekly 20,000 jade, buying your inner note chests, your breakthrough materials, your career notebooks, and you could potentially get some gear here, coins, and martial arts custom tips. Ultimately, it'll be about a month where you can keep using the same tier 71 gear. That's kind of a relief and a bit of a break from the continual gear treadmill that it has been, where week after week we were replacing our gear. However, that's not to say as soon as the next season comes, we won't be repeating the gear changing again. Going to tier 81 gear, tier 85, tier 90, all the way up to tier 100. But it's very likely all that will kind of slow down, as what they seem to be doing right now is kind of catching us up to what the Chinese server had. But still, we are far out in terms of actual gameplay content from what they have. Like the amount of different regions, bosses, and exploration stuff that you can do versus them. And with our roadmap just for this January, it doesn't look like a whole lot. An extra boss, some extra events, somewhat of a region edition with the 9 Mortal Ways base, and yeah, a season for the last week before we should be getting the next season in February. And it looks like the story should continue a little bit here, as when you select, it says to be continued. So there is plenty of content in this game, and if you want to be serious, there's a lot of competitive PvP and PvE leaderboards, but it definitely, in my opinion, misses the MMO feel. And yes, you can say this is not an MMO, and that's quite true. It does, however, have quite a few MMO elements, and as a person who mainly plays MMOs, I'm missing something in this game. For one, I would say it's friends. They prefer to play other games. But for another is the fact you don't need anybody to gear up your character. So other than this optional content, there is no reason to interact with other players. There's no trading. You're not going to go out and farm something just to earn a currency by selling to other players. You're not going to play content hoping for a drop just to be able to sell it to other players. Even if you don't say really need the currency, it can be still quite fun hoarding that currency. As an action RPG exploration game, I'd say yes, this is absolutely amazing and is really cool for a first time playthrough. But if you have done everything, done all the exploration, or say got bored of it and don't want to do all the side quests, the drip feeding of content has definitely caused a lot of players to, yes, play this game a lot less. It's not necessarily that people are quitting the game, it's just they're spending less time playing it. And this makes sense because the game's very heavily restricted with character progression on the energy that you have. I can just log in every few days, spend all my energy, log out, and just not log back in for another few days. And on top of that, consuming that energy can just be involving blasting the same boss 5 times and you're done. And in terms of the way tuning works on your gear, where you're trying to get these stats, it's just all random right now. There's no way for you to determine exactly what stats you're getting versus other games you could potentially grind for pieces and then use those pieces on the gear you're using to gain that stat, like guaranteed obtain one. But no, here it's random, and if I get a bad stat or it's not maxed out, then the best I can do is obtain another base gear piece and attempt to tune that. I'm not such a big fan of that system. From other games I've played, you would be able to trade these gear pieces, these stats between other players, and that would go a long way to help optimizing your build. But no, right now you're just stuck with energy, a limited amount of gear you can actually get, and so there's only so much gear optimization you can be doing. And so in the end, a lot of people just don't even bother. So there's no real time sink there. Again, you log in every few days, spend your energy, and that's it. You hope for the best on the stats and the gear you get, and there's nothing more you can do. And I don't know if this system will be changing. Ultimately, it's a game you don't have to invest a lot of time in to remain relevant. This new breakthrough, very easy to just grab some new gear, tune it up day one, and then I'll come back to spend my energy every few days. And by the time the next breakthrough comes, or the next season, it won't even matter when we'll just replace all that gear again. But yes, that's not to say the game is still really amazing in terms of the quality of the content that there is. The exploration, the world, the atmosphere. It's pretty amazing. I just don't find myself, like a lot of other players, spending a lot of time in the game anymore. Because there just isn't a whole lot to be doing unless you're some sweat who likes to push leaderboards. Or you're a completionist and haven't yet finished all the side story missions and little collectibles. But in conclusion, I just miss classic MMORPGs after playing this game for quite a bit. So a special thank you to all these channel members. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys around.